Colossians chapter 3, verse 17, and whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Hashem, Hamashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Heavenly Father Yahweh by Him. All praises to the Heavenly Father. So we know what sin is, and we know that the Bible breaks down sin. And let's look at 1 John chapter 3 and 4. 1 John chapter 3, verse 4, whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law. Sin is the transgression of the law. So when you sin, you are breaking the Most High's laws, His holy laws. The only way to get released from that is to honestly make a mistake, or if something else triggers you away from that based on some kind of emergent circumstances, what have you. For the most part, we keep the law. We establish the law to the best of our ability. All right, let's go to Romans chapter 6, verse 15. Romans chapter 6, verse 15. I'll start at verse 12. Let's read verse 12. It says, let not sin reign therefore in your mortal body, that ye should obey it in the lust thereof. And this is the problem with not only the Israelites, but all nations. They have a problem with lusting, all nations. And this type of thing can cause you to age. When you let things interfere with your daily consumption of wholesome foods, water, juices, when you change the way that you behave, whether it's by dietary, whether it's by dealing with stressful incidents, whether it's dealing with stressful people, those type of things can age you quickly. Breaking the Most High's laws can age you. It shows in your mortal body. You know, and we see it. We don't realize it until we come into the truth. A lot of us here came into the truth at a latter part of our lives, and we didn't know that if we had kept these laws as a child, a lot of things that we have possibly been through, we probably wouldn't have been through. We probably wouldn't have went through. But it's sin. Sin causes us to age. Things that we were lusting over, things that we thought were right, we thought was okay. You know, we rationalized that it was okay. Those things were wrong for our bodies. Those things were wrong for our minds, our mentality. You know, it tainted us. And so that's why he says, let not sin reign therefore in your mortal bodies, that you should obey it in the lust thereof. Neither yield ye your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto the Most High as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto the Most High. For sin shall not have dominion over you. When sin has dominion over you, that's why we come down with, think about how many people got allergies today. I got allergies to a certain degree sometimes. Does that come from sin? Or does that come from the chemicals that the so-called Caucasian man has put in the earth? A lot of people in other countries don't have what we call allergies. It's mostly here with all these plants, radiation plants. You know, we blame these different things, but imagine if we were keeping these laws from birth. Just imagine. Would we have some of these ailments? We have some of these problems that we're dealing with today. You know, we have to think about that because the Most High is telling us here, for sin shall not have dominion over you. For you are not under the law, but under grace. So by grace is why we're in the truth. The Most High allowed us to continue to live until we found the truth. And we came into the truth by grace. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? The Most High forbid. Now that we're in the truth, grace brought us in here. Now we can't just sin because, like we used to. Okay, so the Most High is showing us that sin does age you. Sin does cause problems in your mortal body. Let's go to Romans 5 and 12. Here's juicy verse 2. This is a good example. Romans 5 and 12. It says, wherefore, as by one man's sin entered into the world, who's that one man? Adam. Through him, sin entered into the world. And death by sin, because of Adam's sin, we all got to die now. And so death passed upon all men. Not only that, even if you was keeping the laws, guess what? You still got to die because of the sin of Adam. Even if you was doing it perfectly. We all got sin because we're in this predicament of this realm of Adam's sin. For that all have sinned. For unto the law sin was in the world. But sin is not imputed when there is no law. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude. Some of these brothers did not sin. Remember, Job did not sin. All right? Even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression. So you think about that. Yahushua didn't sin. He still had to die. Who is the figure of him that was to come, but not as the offense, so also is the free gift. For it through the office of one, many be dead. Much more the grace of the Most High, which we all have now, and the gift by grace, which is by one man, Yahushua Mashiach, hath abounded unto many. All praises for that. So we've been blessed by the grace that came with Yahushua. All right, let's go to Genesis chapter 6. But death is still in the earth. We still got to encounter death because remember it said by the similitude of some that did not sin after Adam still died. So we still got to die and rise again. Genesis chapter 6, verse 3. Genesis chapter 6, verse 3. And the thing is, with sin, even though we all still die, I mean, there's going to be complications that we all still have, even if we don't sin. It's going to be some complication that's going to take us out, like I said before. Something has got to take us out to death. There's got to be something in our bodies, whether it be dying of old age or some element from the sin. It's just like smoking. You smoke for 30 years and then you stop smoking and change your life. The damage is already done in your lungs. That could possibly take you out. That could be your reasoning for dying in another 30 years. It could be your lungs. You know what I mean? So the way the Most High got this thing worked out is because of Adam's sin. We all have to go through it. Genesis chapter 6, verse 3, and the Most High said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. You don't think that the flesh started to change because of this decree that the Most High said? So if we were living long in those days, then more than likely our aging was slower. Our hair didn't quite turn as gray that fast. Our skin didn't age as quick as it does now to becoming wrinkled eventually. Some of us don't wrinkle. Our bones didn't shrivel. Our minds remain intact and sharp. But because of evil abounding, the Most High reduced our years to 120. Let's jump down to verse 5. And the Most High saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Most High that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. So we needed Yahushua to come into the earth. But it didn't stop death. And like the Most High said, he reduced our years to 120. Now is to For some of us, 70, which they call 70, if your ways aren't pleasing to the Most High. We see young brothers dying all the time by gunshots, and something possibly wasn't pleasing to them, to the Most High. They wasn't using their life right, or they could just be an example to the flock was to wake up. We don't know how the Most High used them. Let's go to Sirach chapter 18. I'm sure sin was involved somewhere. I know they didn't know the truth. Sirach chapter 18, verse 8 in the Apocrypha. Let's look at these years that the Most High spoke of in Genesis. As he said 120, somebody might say, well, he said 70, but in another place he said 100. So here's the 100. Sirach chapter 18, or Ecclesiastes chapter 18, verse 8. What is man, and whereto serveth he? What is his good, and what is his evil? The number of man's days at the most are 100 years. It's tough to get to that 100. Some of us get to 50, 60, 70. That 100 is a tough number to get to, let alone 120. Most people don't make it to 100, let alone 120. So you really got to be you really got to have the Most High's mercy. Let's see, verse 10. As a drop of water unto the sea, and a gravel stone in comparison of the sand, so are 1,000 years to the days of eternity. Therefore is the Most High patient with them, and pour forth his mercy upon them. Remember, the Most High gave us 1,000 years to live in the beginning, to eternity. Just think if he made it to 1,000 years, he would live to eternity. Verse 12, he saw and perceived their end to be evil. Therefore he multiplied his compassion. The mercy of man is toward his neighbor, but mercy of the Most High is upon all flesh. See that? So think about these other nations. See, when we look at the aging process, we like to blame, stress for age. But when you look at the other nations, these other nations, they're worshiping other gods. If they were following the Most High, they'd be changing everything that they're doing today. I mean, look at Elam. Look at the false images that Elam worships, let alone the things that he does on a day-to-day basis. We may think that they look upright, like, wow, look at their custom. Their custom is better than ours in America. But these people are living a very, very sinful life. And you look at the aging process of these people, because I was with my wife, and she said, the Indian women, they look so pretty when they're young, but when they get old, they look old, and the men too. They age very quickly. Same thing with the Chinese and some of the Japanese. Even though some of them have disciplined lives, it's not disciplined according to the ways of the Most High. They age very, very quickly. And mainly is because they're not following the Most High either. None of these nations are following the Most High. Okay, let's keep going. Verse 13. The mercy of man is toward his neighbor, but the mercy of the Most High is upon all flesh. He reproveth and nurtureth and teacheth and bringeth again, as a shepherd his flock. He hath mercy on them that receive discipline. See that? Japanese way of discipline? Yeah, they got some discipline, but it's not according to the ways of the Most High. And that diligently seek after his judgments. That's the key right there. My son, blemish not thy good deeds, neither use uncomfortable words when thou givest anything. See that? A lot of brothers think that, you can use uncomfortable words when you get mad to talk to other brother and bring your point across. No. Most High tells you here, don't use uncomfortable words when thou givest anything. Psalms chapter 90, verse 10. Psalm chapter 90, verse 10. It says, the days of our years are 80 years and 10. That's 70. A score is 20. The days of our years are 80 years and 10. And if by reason of strength they be 80 years, that's 80 years. Yet is their strength, labor, and sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away. So the Most High is telling you, even with here, through labor and sorrow, you might live a little longer. Take care of your body and eat right. You might live a little longer. But that 100, that mark is hard to get to. You see a lot of women get to that mark more than men, But normally it's through routine, doing the same thing day in, day out, not changing your regimen at all. That's basically what it is. It's following the Most High, keeping the law, statutes, commandments, leading living a life of righteousness, and having a routine. However, in the resurrection, the Most High talks about how we will be renewed again to regain our youth again. Our flesh will also be renewed again without sin. So through sin, we begin to age physically. And that's something, we start to age. You look at yourself now, you look at your pictures when you was 20, you look totally different. You look the same, but you look different. You look stronger, your flesh look, you know what I'm saying? You look different. And it's because of aging with sin. Are you eating right? Are you taking care of your body? Okay? Are you faithful? Are you in love with the Most High? Are you happy or are you stressed all the time? Do you have mind? Do people play mind games on all that stuff right there interferes with you? Arguments. Are you arguing day in, day out? Ages you. It's not the way to be arguing. It's not in the scriptures for us to be arguing with each other every day. It's not, something's not right with that picture if you're constantly arguing all the time. Okay? Let's go to Isaiah, and let's read verse 3 through 5. Hearken unto me, O house of Jacob, and all the remnant of the house of Israel, which are born by me from the belly, which are carried from the womb. And even to your old age I am he. And even to hoary hairs will I carry you. So the Most High is going to be with you from your youth, from the womb, to the end of your life when you turn gray and old. That's what he's telling you. He's never going to leave you as long as you don't leave him. I have made and I will bear, even I will carry and will deliver you. I've been here all this time, I'm not going to leave you. So it's the way he was with Moses. He never left Moses. To whom will you liken me and make me equal and compare me that we may be alike? All right? You can't compare the Most High with nobody. These false gods that these other people worship, them guys, they come and go. They got 1,000 gods. They go from one god to the next god to the next god to the next god. And none of them can do anything to them or help them. But the Most High is telling us that he's going to restore us. He's going to restore our flesh. He's going to restore our strength. He's going to restore our hair. He's going to restore everything. Everything that we may have lost, he's going to restore it. Look at Job chapter 33. Let's see. He's going to restore everything that we lost and make it new and whole again. This is why we follow the Most High. We follow him first because we love him, not just to get a reward, but first because we love him. If you're in it just to get a reward, that's the wrong feature. Because I want that reward. I want to live again. Yeah, no, we love him first. We love him first. If he killed us today and we didn't get the reward, as long as we loved him, That's more important than reward. Although we want the reward, but we got to love him first. Job 33, verse 24. I mean, you see that with gold diggers, right? They get with people, they get with men because they want the money. It's not because they love them. We're not like that with the Most High. We're not like some hoes trying to get with the Most High so he can give us a reward. No, we with the Most High because we love him. Job chapter 33, verse 24. Job chapter 33, verse 24. Then he is gracious unto him and saith, deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom. Who is our ransom? Yahushua. Verse 25. His flesh shall be fresher than a child's. That's us. He shall return to the days of his youth. We're going to return to the days of our youth upon that resurrection. He shall pray unto the Most High, and he will be favorable unto him. And he shall see his face with joy. We're still going to love the Most High. We're still going to talk to him. By praying, we're going to talk to him. But he will render unto man his righteousness. That's the reward. We're going to be reestablished, renewed. Our flesh is going to be renewed again. Some people have skin diseases and nerve diseases and respiratory diseases and things like that. All that stuff is going to be renewed. Imagine you going into a new body and you ain't got to deal with none of that stuff anymore. Now you have a second chance to do right forever. Think about that. Other people don't have that because they don't know who our power is. They don't know who the creator of the universe is. They'll never get there. They'll never get to experience what we're going to experience. Let's read on. Verse 26. He shall pray unto the Most High, and he will be favorable unto him, and he shall see his face with joy, for he will render unto man his righteousness. He looketh upon men, and if any say, I have sinned, and perverted that which was right, and it profited me not, he will deliver his soul from going into the pit, and his life shall see the light. Lo, all these things worketh the Most High oftentimes with man, to bring back his soul from the pit, to be enlightened with the light of the living. Mark well, O Job, hearken unto me. Hold thy peace, and I will speak. So the Most High is going to restore us again. And his promises have proven that he's going to do it when he sent Yahushua back on the earth. And Yahushua did all these miracles for us to see it and believe it and know that the Most High's word is true, that it's going to happen. Even today, the times that we're living in, being brought over here in captivity, we know that the Most High's word is true. We know that this is going to happen again, that the Most High is going to redeem us. The Most High knows with men our biggest fear. He knows our biggest fear is death. However, he knows men cherishes his youth and his strength. We cherish that thing. An example of sin and the kingdom is in the book of, let's go to 2 Kings chapter 5. This is an example of how we're going to be in the kingdom. 2 Kings chapter 5, and let's start at verse 1. 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 1. Now Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master. All right, so his name in the Israelite, it said that he was a captain in this particular army. And his master was the king of Syria. This is an honorable, because by him the Most High have given deliverance unto Syria. So he had to be an Israelite in the Syrian army. He was also a mighty man in valor, but he was a leper. How is he a leper and a captain in the army? Let's drop down to his mind. His mind was sharp as a tack. You don't just throw away somebody who got a mind that has a military way of thinking. You don't just throw that away when he done defeated kingdoms. You go and get him to defeat other armies, whether he's a leper or not. 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 8, because, back in those days, they banished lepers to a cave, said unclean. Well, that's what Israel did. We're dealing with a heathen nation here. 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 8. And it was so when Elisha, the man of the Most High, had heard that the king of Israel had rent his clothes, that he sent to the king, saying, Wherefore hast thou rent thy clothes? Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Israel. So Naaman came with his horses and with his chariot, and stood at the door of the house of Elisha. And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean. But Naaman was wroth, and went away, and said, Behold, I thought he will surely come out to me, and stand, and call in the name of the Most High thy power, and strike his hand over the place, and recover the leper. He thought he was going to do all these things in front of him like Merlin the wizard. Are not Abana and Pharpar rivers of Damascus better than all the waters of Israel? May I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and went away in a rage. And the servants came near and spoke unto him and said, My father, if the prophet had bid thee do some great thing, wouldest thou not have done it? How much rather then when he saith to thee, Wash and be clean? Then went he down and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of the Most High. And his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. So his flesh was renewed. Imagine your flesh being renewed, all those scratches and scars and stuff that you had, that gave you a little character of where you've been, just gone. Everything in your body gone. Eyebrows new, eyelashes new. Imagine that. That he returned to the man of the Most High, he and all his company, and came and stood before him, and he said, Behold, now I know that there is no power in all the earth but in Israel. Now therefore I pray thee, take a blessing of thy servant. So here's the act of us being in the kingdom. The same thing is going to happen. The Most High is going to restore us again. The Most High is powerful and can do all things. All things. Let's go to Deuteronomy 4. So this is what the other nations don't know. Ain't no beauty products going to be able to do this. The beauty products that we're going to have is the Most High's hand. All this Maybelline and all that stuff. Y'all sisters ain't going to have to wear that stuff no more. Makeup. A lot of it is making a lot of our women look bad now. They think they're looking good, but I don't know, it's like the makeup is taking away impurities of our women's faces. I don't know if it's just so hard. You can rub somebody's skin hard enough, and that's frail, and you can rub the skin right off their face. So a lot of the stuff that these products that they're putting out there are really scarring our women, where they have to use that stuff all the time. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Most High thy power commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great who hath the Most High so near unto them, as the Most High thy power is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great that hath statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day? So the Most High is telling you he's only dealing with the children of Israel when it comes to these laws, statutes, and commandments. This is our youth. This is going to restore us. When we come into the truth, what do we say we are? We're babes in the truth. We're restored, right? So when we go into our deathbed and resurrect, we're going to be restored anew. We're already going to have the mindset. It's just our body is going to follow. Our body can't follow when we restore our mind. It stops all the sin, but it stays right there. But it takes time to rebuild our bodies to be back the way they used to. And in this lifetime, a lot of us can't do it. You know what I mean? We could stabilize it, but we can't better it to where it's as strong as it was when we were younger. Okay, Micah chapter 4. Let's go there. Go to Micah. Micah chapter 4, verse 2. Micah chapter 4, verse 2. And many nations shall come and say, Come, and let us go up to the mountain of the Most High, and to the house of the power of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Most High from Jerusalem. So all of the nations eventually are going to get it, and they're going to come to us to realize that just by looking at, the nations like to look at us and tell. They already say what to us when they see us? Black don't crack. You guys look so young. You guys never age. Don't they say that already about black folks? They say that about Native Americans. They say that too, But they tell us all the time, black don't crack. How old are you? 60? You look like you're 40 years old. You like you're 50 years old. We get that all the time. They look at our stature. They look at our bodies, our minds. That's the Most High in us. Psalms chapter 33. We're going to be teaching these other nations how to be just like the Most High. They're going to look at us and see the Most High in us first and try to copy. They already know that we look better than them. Most of them. They already know we look better than them in various ages. That's why there's so much mixture in the earth today. Psalms chapter 33, verse 8. Psalms chapter 33, verse 8. Let all the earth fear the Most High. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. That's what they're going to do when they see us, stand in awe. Like, how do we be like this great people? Well, what do we need to do? For he spoke, and it was done. He commanded, and it stood fast. The Most High bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect. The counsel of the Most High standeth forever. The thoughts of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose the Most High is the power, and the people whom he hath chosen for his own inheritance. People know that we're God believers. They all know we believe in God. Most people know that the African Americans, Native Americans, they know that we believe in the Most High. Most people. We already know our religion, our culture. They know that we're highly religious. Now all these nations that we see around us, like I said, they're worshiping these other gods. Due to them serving these other gods, the Most High takes his blessings away from them. How he takes his blessings away from them is in their health, in their beauty. Like I said, they age quickly. They age quickly in their vanities. Look around and see what these other nations have been through, or how they age through the years. Most of these Elamites, even though they eat all this cayenne pepper and all that stuff, a lot of them got terrible health practices. The Chinese, terrible health, all that salt, terrible health practices. Japheth, terrible health practices. Most of the Japhetic men don't live that long. And they women, once they get pregnant, they lose all their beauty. They got the hair, but that's it. But, they worship all these false gods. They put these tattoos on them that worship their gods. The East Indian women, they cut their hair for the gods. They do all these things, that goes against the Most High, the creator of all the earth. They have problems. Let's go to Baruch in the Apocrypha. Our problem, the Israelites, we're just hard-headed. We put things in our body to age us like chemicals weed and cocaine and heroin and methamphetamines and alcohol. You know, we abuse our bodies. That's what we do. Baruch chapter 3, verse 16. Baruch chapter 3, verse 16. Where are the princes of the heathen? Where are the princes of the heathen become? And such as ruled the beast upon the earth. Where are they? They that, the Most High is saying how quickly they come into the earth and how quickly they leave, these heathen. They that had their pastime with the fowls of the air, and they that hoarded up silver and gold wherein men trust, and made no end of their getting. For they thought wrought in silver, and were so careful, in whose works are unsearchable. They are vanished and gone down to the grave, and others are come up in their steads. Yeah, they're children. Young men have seen light and dwelt upon earth, but the way of knowledge have they not known. See that? Nor understood the path thereof, nor laid hold of it. Their children were far off from that way. They never seen the ways of our God. It have not been heard of in Canaan, neither has it been seen in Teman. The Agarenes that seek wisdom upon earth, the merchants of Meron, this is Japheth, and of Teman, the authors of fables, and searchers out of understanding. They think some of their wise men are the smartest on earth. They just as stupid. None of these have known the way of wisdom, or remember her paths. Drop down to 35. This is our power, and there shall none other be accounted of in comparison of him. See that? The Most High is our power. He hath found out all the ways of knowledge, and with all this knowledge, what did he do? And have given it unto Jacob his servant, and to Israel his beloved. Drop down to Baruch chapter 4, verse 1. Baruch chapter 4, verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. So the Most High is telling us, by keeping these laws, we shall live. When we don't, we shall die. Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated. That's what we want to do. Stay illuminated. Stay healthy. Stay strong. All right? And the Most High has given us the gifts to understand what we must do in order to have everlasting life. Not only that, to take care of our lives while we're here. To seek that 120 years. They'll give it to you. You ask for it. Psalms 96. Let's go to Psalms 96, verse 5. Because these other nations don't know what to seek for. Some of them get lucky and make it to 100 or some years. Psalms chapter 96, verse 5. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Most High made the heavens. So the Most High is telling you, he made all things. And all these other nations, they don't even realize that he made all things. He made the heavens. Let's go to Psalms chapter 115. Psalms 115 and verse 2. Look how the Most High talk about these heathens. They're all in sin, all these people. Psalms 115, verse 2. Wherefore should the heathen say, where is now their God? But our God is in the heavens. He hath done whatsoever he pleased. Their idols are silver and gold, the work of men's hands. They have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. The Most High said they can't see nothing. Verse 6. They have ears, but they hear not. Noses have they, but they smell not. They have hands, but they handle not. Feet have they, but they walk not. I mean, they still worship idols. They're supposed to be so smart in accounting and dealing with people's finances, doctors, and all this stuff. but they worship idols. Neither speak they through their throat. They that make them are like unto them. So is everyone that trusteth in them. They're all just like their idols. They're just like stone when you deal with them. No compassion, these other nations. Most High is telling you what they're like. And Esau don't have nothing. So if he has nothing, imagine how he's supposed to deal with you. He has nothing. Don't want nothing. Look at all the times Yahushua healed people. When he healed people, what was the first thing he told them? He told them, your faith has healed you. They were in all types of predicaments. He knew that all these predicaments were brought on by sin. And that's why I said faith has healed you. If faith has healed you, that means that you were doing something ill will to get the sin upon you. Look in Luke chapter 13. He did miracles because our people were lost. They were breaking commandments. They were getting away. They were being persuaded by other people who knew the commandments too. They were being persuaded. Luke 13:10. Luke 13:10. And he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath. And behold, there was a woman which had a spirit of infirmity, 18 years, and was bowed together, and could in no wise lift up herself. You know, certain diseases that we have today, if you let them prolong without being medicated, you end up like this. It could be all types of things that we see today that are very basic. You know, I don't want to name anything, but a lot of these things, you just go to the doctor, like UTI, for example. UTI can cause all kinds of problems. Mentally, you know, physically, a UTI can really make somebody look decrepit if they don't get it handled. So a lot of medicines weren't in those days the way that we have them today. They had other things, herbs and spices, and that didn't work for everybody. It says here, verse 12, and when Yahushua saw her, he called her to him and said unto her, Woman, thou art loose from thy infirmity. And he laid his hands on her, and immediately she was made straight and glorified the Most High. So the Most High, he sent Yahushua on the earth to restore his people, to show them that there is a power that's coming to renew our spirits and to resurrect us. Verse 14, and the ruler of the synagogue answered with indignation because that Yahushua had healed on the Sabbath day, and said unto the people, there are 6 days in which men ought to work. In them therefore come and be healed, and not on the Sabbath day. Check this out. Look at how he responds. The Hamashiach then answered him and said, Thou hypocrite, doth not each one of you on the Sabbath loose his ox or his ass from him away to watering? And ought not this woman, being a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan hath bound, lo, these 18 years be loose from this bond on the Sabbath day? Basically calling him Satan. And when he had said these things, all his adversaries were ashamed, and all the people rejoiced for all the glorious things that were done by him. Then said he, Unto what is the kingdom of the Most High like? And whereunto shall I resemble it? All right, so Yahushua is showing them that you could still be restored by grace. You could be refreshed. I'm going to bring out a couple more verses and I'm going to end it. Let's go to Mark chapter 10. Mark chapter 10, verse 46. Mark chapter 10, verse 46. This is another example of Yahushua. And they came to Jericho, and as he went out of Jericho with his disciples, and a great number of people, blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, sat by the highway side begging. And when he had heard that it was Yahushua of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, Yahushua, thou son of David, have mercy on me. And many charged him. They almost like they told him to shut up, that he should hold his peace. But he cried the more a great deal, Thou son of David, have mercy on me. And Yahushua stood still and commanded him to be called. And they called the blind man, saying unto him, Be of good comfort, rise, he calleth you. And there must have been a lot of brothers. And he, casting away his garment, rose and came to Yahushua. And Yahushua answered and said unto him, What wilt thou that I should do unto you? The blind man said unto him, Amashiach, that I might receive my sight. And Yahushua said unto him, Go thy way, thy faith hath made thee whole. And immediately he received his sight and followed Yahushua in the way. I mean, if Yahushua was healing people that easily for people coming to him, what do you think he'll do for us? You got to put your faith in him. You got to put your faith in the Most High through Yahushua. If he was doing that then, he'll do it now. And he's going to do it for our whole nation. Let's go to Romans chapter 11. I'll end with this verse here. So he is going to restore us. And like I said, sin does aid you when you're not mindful of it. Romans chapter 11, verse 25. Romans chapter 11, verse 25. For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Israel, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. So, in other words, you're going to be confused if you're not in this truth until the fullness of the Gentiles come in. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written. There shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins. See that? So the Most High is going to remove our sins completely and restore us. That's what we're waiting on. So we're no longer going to age, family. All praise to the Most High. With that, I'm going to end this class.
This is the word of the Lord of hosts. I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone, and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.